Hey there, cruise lovers. If you're someone who dreams about open seas, savors sunrise coffee on the deck, and counts down the days to your next embarkation, then welcome aboard. You're in the right place. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser with a dozen pins on your lanyard, or you're just starting to explore this exciting way to travel, one thing's for sure. No one books a cruise expecting to get turned away at the gate. But guess what? It's happening. More often than you'd think. I'm your guide from Travel Vibes, and today, we're diving deep into 15 surprising reasons why more cruisers are being denied boarding this year, and what you can do to make sure your vacation sails smoothly. These are real situations faced by real travelers. So stick with me, because a little knowledge now could save your entire cruise later. If you're ready to cruise smarter and stress-free, hit that subscribe button. Travel Vibes is your compass for cruise wisdom. 1. Don't let your emotions sink the ship. Now, if you love cruising, chances are you're someone who values relaxation, courtesy, and that special kind of kindness we see at sea. You smile at strangers, thank the crew, and maybe even bring your cabin steward a chocolate bar. That's what makes cruise culture so unique. It runs on respect. But here's something many don't realize. Cruise lines have a zero-tolerance policy for aggressive or abusive behavior, especially towards staff. Yes, even before you board. Getting angry about a last-minute itinerary change or cancellation? Totally understandable, but yelling, swearing, or threatening customer service over the phone? That could land you on a permanent no-sale list. No refund. No second chance. So instead of reacting emotionally, take a breath. Speak firmly but kindly. Even the CEO of Royal Caribbean once said, "The guest who stays calm gets resolution faster." Kindness isn't just good manners, it's your ticket on board. 2. Don't let paperwork sink your plans. Let's be honest. Cruise lovers tend to be planners. You probably love researching ports, booking excursions early, and color-coding your packing cubes. But here's one detail even the most organized travelers sometimes miss. Incomplete or mismatched documents. Cruising isn't like checking into a hotel. If your full name on your reservation doesn't exactly match your passport, or if you're relying on a real ID without a birth certificate, your cruise line has every right to deny boarding. And yes, even small things like leaving out a middle name can raise red flags during check-in. Some people assume that if you're on a closed-loop cruise, leaving and returning to the same U.S. port, you don't need a passport. That can be true, but only if your paperwork is perfect. The best way to stay safe? Always double-check your documents, bring backup IDs, and use your cruise line's official checklist. Because the only thing worse than missing your cruise is realizing it was avoidable. 3. Know the hidden travel restrictions that could block your cruise. Now here's something many passionate cruisers don't even think about. Past legal records. You see, most of us who love cruise travel are focused on the fun parts, relaxing by the pool, exploring port towns, and savoring that first bite at the buffet. But there are some hidden legal roadblocks that can catch even experienced travelers off guard. One of the strictest, Canada's entry policy. If your cruise sails anywhere near Canadian waters, like an Alaskan itinerary, even a decades-old DUI can stop you cold at the dock. Canada treats impaired driving as a serious offense. So even if your ship leaves from Seattle or returns to Vancouver, border control could turn you away. And if they say no, the cruise line has no choice but to follow. It's a harsh surprise, but it's preventable, so if you or someone you're cruising with has a criminal record, even a minor one, speak to an immigration expert before you book. A simple check now could save your dream vacation later. 4. Keep your cruise details private. Yes, even online. As cruise lovers, we love to share. We post countdowns, snapshots of our staterooms, and excited updates the moment we book that dream itinerary. It's part of the joy. The anticipation is half the fun. But in this digital age, oversharing can cost you everything. Posting your cabin number, booking ID, or even your sail dates online may seem harmless, but it's not. Believe it or not, scammers are out there watching. Some even use this info to call the cruise line, pretend to be you, and cancel or modify your booking. It's rare, but it has happened. And once your spot is gone, especially on a sold-out cruise, it's nearly impossible to get back. So here's the golden rule. Treat your cruise reservation like a boarding pass to paradise. Keep it safe. Share the excitement, not the specifics. And remember, your vacation starts the moment you protect it. 5. Check more than just the expiry date on your passport. Cruisers are detail lovers. We plan outfits by port weather, track ship locations in real time, and know exactly which side of the buffet to approach first. But sometimes it's the smallest detail that derails everything, like a slightly damaged passport. To the untrained eye, a worn corner or a tiny water stain might seem harmless. But to immigration officers and cruise security, that's enough to mark it as invalid. And that means no boarding, no matter how far you've flown or how long you've planned. Even countries like Australia and Singapore apply these rules strictly. If your passport looks tired, don't risk it. A new one might cost a bit now, but it saves you thousands and your cruise dreams. So before you pack your bags, do one thing first. Inspect your passport like it's a boarding pass to your happiest memories. If it's not pristine, replace it. Because a flawless vacation starts with flawless documents. 6. Don't forget the paperwork. When cruising with kids. If you love cruising, chances are you also love creating special memories with family. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, even close family friends. Cruise vacations are perfect for multi-generational bonding. But when it comes to traveling with minors, the rules get a little more official. Here's the thing. If you're bringing a child who's not legally yours, or if only one parent is present, you'll need a notarized consent letter from the other parent or legal guardian. And no, a casual verbal agreement won't cut it. Cruise lines follow international law, and some destinations are even stricter than others. Without that signed permission, even if you've got the kid's passport and snacks ready to go, you could still be stopped at the terminal. So before you plan those family excursions or pirate-themed dinners, make sure the paperwork is squared away. Because peace of mind at sea starts with preparation on land. 7. Be careful what you pack, even if it's legal at home. Cruisers are curious by nature. We love exploring new cultures, trying new flavors, and yes, packing smart to avoid overpaying on board. But when it comes to what's allowed in your suitcase, cruise laws follow a different compass. Just because something is legal in your home state, like CBD products, doesn't mean it's allowed on a cruise ship. These vessels sail under federal maritime and international regulations, and in many ports, those substances are strictly banned. Even a small bottle of CBD gummies could get flagged during security screening, and in some cases, guests have been banned for life. No warnings, no do-overs. So before you zip up that suitcase, take a few minutes to review your cruise line's prohibited items list. What feels routine at home might be a red flag at sea. And remember, the goal isn't just to pack light, it's to pack smart. Because every smooth cruise starts with smart decisions, starting at home, before you even leave the driveway. 8. Don't let the clock steal your cruise. If there's one thing cruise lovers understand, it's that timing matters. We know exactly when the sail-away party starts, when to hit the buffet to beat the crowd, and when the sun sets just right over the horizon. But there's one time window you absolutely can't afford to miss: embarkation cutoff. Here's what many travelers overlook. Even if your cruise departs at 4 p.m., boarding typically ends 90 minutes earlier. This isn't just a cruise line preference, it's a federal security requirement. Cruise lines must submit their final passenger manifest to Homeland Security 1 hour before sailing. Miss that deadline, and no matter how ready or excited you are, the answer is the same. You're not getting on. So what's the smart move? Arrive at the port by late morning. And if you're flying in from another city or another time zone, come in the day before. Treat it like part of the adventure. Because the only thing worse than running late is standing at the dock while your ship sails away. 9. Understand pregnancy limits. Before you book, cruising is one of the most relaxing ways to travel, especially for families preparing to welcome a new little traveler. And let's be honest, few things sound more peaceful than a gentle ocean breeze when you're expecting. But here's where it gets tricky. Cruise lines have firm rules about pregnancy, and they're not flexible. Most major lines, including Royal Caribbean and Carnival, will not allow guests who are beyond 23 or 24 weeks pregnant to board. It's not personal, it's about medical safety and maritime regulations. Ships don't have the facilities to manage high-risk emergencies far from shore. If this rule slips past your radar, you could find yourself denied boarding. And unfortunately, many cruise lines won't issue a refund. So if you or a loved one is expecting, double-check the pregnancy policy before booking. And always confirm dates with your OB/GYN. A few minutes of planning can save thousands and keep that joyful cruise memory truly stress-free. 10. Don't let ID confusion sink your cruise. If you're a detail-oriented traveler, someone who highlights port times, tracks ship layouts, and prints backup copies of everything, you're already ahead of the game. But when it comes to ID requirements, even the most prepared cruisers can get tripped up. One of the biggest misunderstandings in recent years is the difference between a real ID and an enhanced ID. A real ID may get you on a domestic flight, but it's not enough to board a cruise. Only 5 U.S. states issue enhanced IDs, and unless you live in one of them, you likely don't have it. This small mix-up has led many travelers to the port, full of excitement, only to be turned away. So how can you avoid it? Simple. Always travel with a valid passport or passport card. In some cases, a birth certificate with a government-issued photo ID is acceptable, especially for closed-loop cruises. But the safest option is still the one that works worldwide. Because in cruising, peace of mind starts with proper identification. 11. Don't overlook the new visa rules for Europe and the UK. Cruisers are explorers at heart. Whether you dream of sipping espresso in Italy or strolling the cliffs of Dover, there's something magical about cruising through Europe. But starting this year, there's a new rulebook, and you'll need more than just a passport to make it through. If you're flying into or cruising out of the United Kingdom, you'll now need an ETA, Electronic Travel Authorization. And soon, the EU will roll out ETIAS, their version of a pre-travel screening system. These approvals aren't optional. No ETA or ETIAS? You won't even board the flight that gets you to your cruise. It's a shift toward tighter travel protocols, similar to how the US handles visa waivers. It's quick to register, but easy to forget if you're used to hassle-free entry. So treat this like your cruise countdown. Set a reminder, check your destination's requirements 90 days in advance, and register as early as possible. Because smart cruisers don't just follow the tide, they stay ahead of it. 12. Think twice before you file that cruise. Chargeback. We get it. Cruise lovers are passionate. You notice the details, value great service, and expect your vacation to match what was promised. But even when things go wrong, there's a right way and a risky way to deal with it. Some frustrated cruisers have turned to their credit card companies after an unsatisfying experience. They file a chargeback to get their money back, bypassing the cruise line's resolution process. It might feel justified in the moment, but it can have long-term consequences. Cruise lines call this friendly fraud, and many take it seriously. Guests who win a chargeback can find themselves quietly added to a no-sale list, unable to book again until the funds are repaid, even if the dispute happened years ago. So if something isn't right, start by contacting the cruise line directly. Most major brands, like Princess or Norwegian, have guest relations teams ready to listen, and often, a respectful conversation gets you much further than a refund request ever could. Cruising is about connection, not conflict. 13. Be honest on health forms, but be smart about it. Cruise fans are thoughtful travelers. You care about safety, public health, and doing your part to keep the ship environment clean and enjoyable for everyone. That's what makes the cruise community so special. But here's something many well-meaning guests overlook. How you fill out your health form matters. Those pre-boarding questionnaires are designed to screen for contagious illnesses. But even something simple, like writing that you took allergy medication or had a runny nose the night before, can trigger a secondary medical check or even denial of boarding. Cruise lines are understandably cautious. After past outbreaks, their policies are built to err on the safe side. So yes, always be honest, but if your symptoms are seasonal, allergy-related, or easily explained, consider bringing a doctor's note or documentation just in case. A little preparation shows responsibility and keeps your cruise dreams on track without unnecessary stress. 14. How to avoid getting bumped from an oversold cruise. As cruise lovers, we're used to smooth sailing. We expect order, structure, and the satisfying sound of that boarding ding. But once in a while, something unexpected happens, even in the cruise world, and yes, that includes overbooked sailings. Although it's rare, overselling does happen, especially if you've booked a guaranteed cabin with no specific room assignment. In these situations, if the ship is at full capacity, and you're among the last names on the manifest, you might be offered compensation or asked not to board at all. Now, this sounds like every traveler's nightmare. But here's the upside. If you're flexible, cruise lines may offer generous perks like free future cruises, cabin upgrades, or onboard credits to those willing to switch. So if you want to play it safe, always select your cabin early. But if you're open to surprises and last-minute changes, sometimes saying yes to a bump could actually be a bonus. 15. Beware of cruise deals that look too good to be true. Cruise lovers are natural bargain hunters. We know how to spot a good deal, time our bookings, and grab those free onboard credits. But in the rush for savings, there's one mistake that can cost you your entire vacation: booking through the wrong source. With flashy ads and pop-up promotions everywhere, it's easy to fall for a sketchy third-party website offering a 50% off cruise that seems too perfect to pass up. But sadly, some of these sites aren't legitimate. They may sell fake or unconfirmed reservations, and by the time you show up at the terminal, it's too late. Even big-name online sellers aren't immune to errors. That's why the smartest cruisers book directly with the cruise line or through a reputable travel advisor. And once you do, call to confirm your reservation and cabin assignment. Don't just rely on an email. Because when it comes to cruising, peace of mind is the best upgrade you can get. Cruising in 2025 is smoother, safer, and more magical than ever. But only if you step aboard fully prepared. Because the real secret to a great voyage isn't just in choosing the right ship or stateroom, it's in avoiding the hidden mistakes that can keep you from sailing at all. When you know the rules, respect the fine print, and stay a step ahead, you don't just board with confidence, you unlock every moment with ease. Every sunset at sea, every breakfast with an ocean view, every laugh echoing down the hallway. So if today's tips helped you feel even one step more cruise ready, give this video a like, share it with a fellow cruiser, and subscribe to Travel Vibes for more down-to-earth advice to help you sail smarter, not harder. Because in the world of cruising, the journey doesn't start at the gangway. It starts with knowledge, and you just leveled up. See you on board.